Hello everybody, welcome back. So I've put my webcam on because I've had a haircut and I don't look like a massive woolly beast. I've also recovered from my vaccine, so I don't look like a snotty beast as well. And I'll probably keep it on for another 2 weeks until I get snotty and hairy again. So what's going on with Bitcoin, I suppose, is the main thing, and it's pretty much, and again, it's just so repetitive at the moment. When we're in this downtrend, which could potentially be the reaccumulation zone, it's going to be so boring. Oh my god, and it already is boring, and it's testing. You can see the indecision in the market, especially with the fear and greed index being so low, and everybody on Twitter having literally opposite opinions. We're bear market, we're bull market. This is the low, this is the top. I mean, that in itself is a prime indicator as to what's actually going to happen over this next month, 2 months, 3 months, maybe even 4 months, which is that bulls and bears are going to be meandering around what I think is going to be the $33,000 middle area. All right, so that's if you think about this, is going to be the middle zone. Technically, we want to see that hold as support because historically, if we just have a quick look on TradingView over here. We have a look at TradingView, we go back in time long enough, we can see that it generally does hold above here, even in bubble pop moments. We reach a parabolic top, the market cycle ends, we come down, we still hold from decent bounces. The vast majority of Bitcoin's history is spent above the 50 exponential moving average on the weekly there. So, it's the first time we come down to test it in a long time, and so I would expect us to hang around here for a little while longer. And if we do break down below it, I'm actually not particularly massively concerned, but it would lend itself to a further downside into the 20,000, like deeper into the $20,000 region. But because we're not there yet and we've not closed a weekly candle body there, I'm not really going to entertain that idea. I'll take things level by level, and that's always the best way to do it. So yeah, we're getting that bounce now on the daily, and there are a few other signs that we could be looking at to suggest that this could move, potentially up to $40,000 or more, just as a bounce. We've got nice bullish divergence take place here on the RSI on the daily, which isn't, that's not the be all and end all, but it's nice to have. So we are having candle bodies getting lower and lower lows getting higher lows on the RSI. So it does lend itself to a potential bigger move. Am I talking about a trend reversal? Probably not. I don't see why I should even entertain the idea that this trend is going to suddenly go into an uptrend, even if we move all the way up to $40,000 from the price that we are at right now. We move up to that 10x 200 exponential with $41,000. It's a 20% move, which is obviously good for Bitcoin, obviously, and we'll carry a lot of altcoins with it, probably. But are we going to get rejected from there? Probably, of course. I would say almost certainly. So let's have a look on the 4 hourly. There's not a great deal more to say about Bitcoin as a whole. There's no need to ramble on all morning about it. I mean, it's the same as it's been for at least the last couple of weeks. So again, you can see the $33,000 area getting tested and tested and tested. And normally, the more a support or a resistance gets tested, the more likely it will be to break. But remember, we can sustain days beneath 33,000. It's the weeklies that we don't want to see close below there, and we're Wednesday today. We can spend the rest of the week down in below $33,000, as long as we don't close there on Sunday night. That's the big one for me, or to be honest, even on Friday with CME closures as well. So we don't want any of that. But this is the deal on the 4 hourly. So the 4 hourly, that bounce being relatively strong so far, relatively strong, turning up on these indicators oversold there on the RSI. So it does lend itself to the concept that we could have a bigger bounce. The 200 the center of this Bollinger Band right now, the 20 moving average is where we're going to find rejection here. But if we were to break above there, we could see ourselves sailing up to at least the 50, which is the 35,500. And if we really did sort of push over the next couple of days, probably the 200 exponential, which lo and behold comes in at pretty much exactly the same place that the 200 exponential is on the daily. So we're about $40,000 to $41,000. None of that would surprise me, and being rejected from there is what I would expect. Now, if it did sail through there, I would be surprised. I'd also be very happy, because like I said, I've been dollar cost averaging on the way down. I still have plenty of available funds to dollar cost average even deeper. Always plan for the worst, right? And expect the worst, and everything else is going to be a bonus, right? So that's fine. If it doesn't hit those targets, that's no big deal. I've got plenty of skin in the game. But for the moment, like I say, I do expect a boring, frustrating, sideways and down range that's just going to bore people to death. And what that'll do to altcoins is kind of undecided at the moment. Some altcoins rallying, some altcoins dying. I think overall the indecision in the altcoin market will lead to its ultimate temporary demise. But again, not all altcoins are created equal, and I've got plenty of altcoins riding, you know, from pretty low levels from January and so on. So I'm happy to keep some of those going because the overall weekly analysis on those is still more than good. Am I looking to buy many more? I might add to a few positions. Yeah, I spoke about it on previous videos, but generally speaking, no. My overall strategy is to focus on the Bitcoins, get as many Bitcoins as possible, and then through that process when the opportunity is ripe, I'll flip those Bitcoins into some very oversold altcoins that are showing extreme positive signals, basically saying, I want to move 5x. Can you help me? And I'll say, yeah, I'll help. And then I'll, you know, double, triple, quadruple, and so on the amount of Bitcoin that I own. And that's the plan. And again, you got to plan. You got to make a plan in this game. You can't just. I make the analogy on my live stream all the time. People are quite sick of hearing it, but it's the way I see it. You could trade like a dog in the park chasing a squirrel, you know, or you could trade like a cat, you know, like stalking its prey. And I'm just talking about your average dog and your average cat. Your average dog probably will not ever catch a squirrel. It'll just go straight after it like an idiot, barking up a tree. Blah, 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 blah. But your average house cat, even if it's a fat, overweight, you know, lazy one, will probably catch a mouse because its strategy is different. You know, it's happy to wait for the right moment and then it'll get it. You know, so your average fat, overweight cat will be able to be more successful than your average dog running around like an idiot. But, you know, analogies aside, you know, that it's probably going to take a bit of patience for you to do the big moves, the moves that we've been so accustomed to over the last few months. You know, anyone could have made money in January. It would have been almost impossible to have not made money. You know, you'd have been extremely unlucky if you hadn't. Provided you'd sold, obviously, some of that made taken profit. But this time is going to take a little more strategy and patience and timing, I suppose. But let's just not go diving in like a dog chasing a squirrel. Let's just sit back and wait for this chart to play itself out. We are obviously in a downtrend on the daily, so you have to respect that. And if you can play downtrends for the bounces, I mean, like I say, I am dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. The long game is to flip those into some altcoins when the time is right, just like we were doing in January. But for the moment, it's a slow, drawn-out process. Build up a portfolio mainly comprised of Bitcoin, and then from there expand into more diverse and more opportunistic charts. But that probably won't be ready or ripe until later on this year. I'm thinking around August, September, October, to be honest with you, is more likely. So it's quite far away in the future. And what some of these altcoins will look by then might be very different to how they look right now. And I mean basically wrecked. I'm expecting, like I say, prepare for the worst, plan for the worst. And through that, you almost always come out better. Yeah, and if we do get this death cross, that might be a death cross for Bitcoin. But if it brings Bitcoin down by 20%, expect 40% with alts or more. You know, it depends on what alt you're in. And then, you know, what I'll be looking to do, just like I'm saying, is scoop some of those altcoins up at those low levels. But let's just be prepared for the worst, okay? And make a plan for the future. And the future, for me, revolves pretty much around Bitcoin. You know me, I love altcoins, but I don't love them if they're potentially going to go down 40% or so, which might not happen. But again, plan for the worst. Anyway, rambled on long enough. I hope you have a nice day anyway, and take it easy.